From the creators of the Next 15 podcast show, it's Words vs. Words with Friends podcast, featuring Jolene Santiago and Shamika Montgomery. This is a fun, innovative, interactive podcast filled with stimulating discussions and healthy debates using words and phrases that we use every day. Now, let's get to the podcast.
Hi, welcome to Words vs. Words with Friends podcast. This is a fun, interactive podcast where we challenge your mind and perspective using everyday words and phrases. I'm your host, Jolene Santiago, and I have my co-host here, Shamika Montgomery.
Hey, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight on Words vs. Words with Friends. Words vs. Words with Friends is a podcast that we created to bring back the real art of conversation. We want to create dialogue, and we also want to help you think outside the box.
Hey, tonight we have a very special guest joining us. He is a creator and host of SBC, Single Black Christians. The sole purpose of Single Black Christians is to help and encourage each other during our seasons of singleness. Single Black Christians was created in 2009, now with 12,000 followers. Single Black Christians Connections with 19,000 followers, and Big Sexy Lounge with 10,000 followers. Let's welcome our very special guest, Mike Walker.
Thank you, Jolene. Thank you, Shamika. How y'all doing?
Welcome.
Good. How you doing? So happy
doing great. You. I didn't know you was going to mention Big and Sexy. I didn't know you was going to mention that.
Surprise! That's a bonus. That was a bonus.
Thank you. Much obliged.
So tonight we have a very special episode tonight, a new episode, new discussion tonight. And we're talking about dating versus courting. In seeking a long-term relationship, which one has the greatest investment? Go ahead, Shamika. Take it away.
So we're gonna look at those definitions real quick. So if we get those for dating. So dating is a form of romantic courtship, typically between two individuals, with the aim of assessing the other's suitability as a partner in an intimate relationship or as a spouse. The result of dating may at any time lead to friendship, any level of intimate relationship, marriage, or no relation. So courting is to be involved with romantically, typically with the intention of marrying. So Mike, as our special guest tonight, what say you?
The difference, or which is better? Let's start off with dating. That's like, I hate to use this crude term. It's almost like a test drive, if you will. You go out, have fun, you see how they act in public, private, and then courting, that's when things get serious. Things are serious, but you just got to make sure that you don't pay courting costs when you're dating. Okay? It's just a big difference. Courting is a different level. So, and make sure you don't pay dating prices when you're courting. Because when you get to that point, some things ought to change. Some things, seriousness, your talk, your walk, cooking for each other. I mean, bunch of stuff though. So they both work in their own time though. You know, dating is good, but after a while, if you're dating more than what 2 or 3 months, then probably not the person for you. That's just my humble opinion right there.
That's interesting. That's really interesting, because I've known people who've dated for a long time before they decide, hey, I'm going to make that commitment to take the next step. So it's very interesting. Like, you know, do we put a time frame, a timestamp on dating or getting to know each other?
Well, I do personally. Again, if it's within a normal, like I say 3-4 months, if there's no commitment, then hey, and that make me think about what they're doing when they're not around me. You know, am I a test drive? You know, am I that 30 days for free? And then we'll charge you after 30 days. I mean, that make you wonder. Because if you're the only one, then hey, no problem. We're official, we're a couple. But if it's, I mean, come on. It's y'all met on Valentine's Day and here it is Thanksgiving and no commitment yet. Not even an invitation to a Thanksgiving dinner at their place. Nah, no, no house and houses. No, it's time to move on.
We just want to say a quick little hello to all of the listeners on Spreaker, YouTube, wherever you're listening from. Mariah, I saw she had a comment, and Pastor Monica. We just want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight with our special guest here, Mike Walker.
Wow, Mike, you're getting pretty deep right from the beginning. You were not waiting. You were getting pretty deep there.
I'm just speaking from experience.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. I can see that. So when I think of as far as investment and I think, as far as long-term relationships, I think that dating will be, I will see that as more of the long-term investment. I see that as more beneficial than courting, because in dating, there's not so much pressure. It's more casual. It's more of you get to know the person first before you make that big commitment of courting. Because I feel like if once you get into courting, it's a whole nother level. I think of relationships as levels. And I think like first, if you get to know somebody as a friend, it's more of you get to see them. It's not so much pressure at that point. Then when you start dating, because really when we date, are you dating one person? Are you dating multiple people? So I feel like that's not so much of a commitment there. It might be like a little bit of a step up. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Shamika? What do you think about that?
I have to disagree with you, Darlene, because I think that courting is the better investment. And the reason why is because when you're dating, like Mike said, it's like a trial run, especially if you're dating multiple people. Courting is specific and it's intentional. So pretty much you're going to get past all of that facade. You know what I mean? You're going to get past the representative of that person. You're going to get down to the core because I'm courting you to see if we're suitable to be married. So we ain't got to put up all the facade because I'm intentional. I'm specifically looking for these things to see if we're compatible. So the better investment to me is going to be courting.
But what if you court? Okay, so let's say you're courting, you make that commitment and you're courting for like a year or so. I feel like if there's more pressure, you feel more obligated to be with the person because you had taken that step. So I think sometimes you settle for that person and certain maybe behaviors or certain things about the person, that you normally wouldn't when you're dating. So dating, I think like, hey, if you see something you don't like, it's more like, you can check out, you can walk out the door.
But that's the whole purpose of courting, though, is because it's specifically intended for marriage. And I think that's one of the questions is some people, I think in today's society, depending on the age range, when they hear courting, a lot of people think of how it originally started. The guy comes to the woman's home. He asks the dad, hey, can I court her? They sit in the living room. They sit on the porch and they court. Now, some generations see it because that was the original intention. But these days, some people, they combine courting and dating together. Some people don't even know what courting is. They're like, what is that? So courting, even to me, is more of a Christian term in the Christian community. That's something that we use because we are intentional on trying to find a mate. So we're courting. I see dating sometimes can be more of a worldly view or worldly word because, you're testing out and you're trying to see who's compatible, where courting is specific. It's intentional. You're focused on that one person. You're getting down to the nitty gritty. You know what I'm saying? You're going into those topics that you need to discuss to see if a marriage is going to work.
Hey, Shamika, Monica said a comment, and I liked what she said. She said, we're not dating a year for you to waste my time. So I could see where, courting, where it's that commitment where, hey, I do want to, in the long run, do want to invest more time with you. But that's why I'm saying like dating, you know what I'm saying? Like dating, I feel like I don't want to waste my time dating somebody or dating multiple people. So it's like, I get to know you first. And if it's something that doesn't line up right with what I think or what I believe, like, I don't want to be in a courting relationship. And then I find out something in the long run that's like, and then now I have to think, do I want to break up with this person? Do I not want to break up with this person? I feel like I'm more pressured when I'm courting.
Well, Jolene, you said in a commitment, in a courting, you're with them out of obligation. So if you're with them out of obligation instead of being with them because you love them and you care for them and you want to build a future with them, then you might need to rethink that courtship. You shouldn't be in a relationship out of obligation.
It's true. Yeah, it's definitely true. Monica says we date for 2 months, and if you can't commit, we must quit.
Yeah.
I like that. Can't commit, you must quit. That's very true. You know, that's very true.
Yeah, but then it's like you're between a rock and a hard place. You want them to make up their mind, but then at the same token, you don't want to rush into anything as well, though. I think, results may vary.
That's true. That's true. It's not a one size fits all type of situation.
Absolutely. I mean, some people you meet, y'all might can't stand each other at first, but then y'all grow. And then some people, you meet each other, the music start playing, and see hearts around and everything. Yeah, like I said, results may vary.
It's fantasy. That's fantasy world. You gotta wake up and get out of fantasy, see them little hearts and music dancing and all that. Reality. It's reality.
No, it's not fantasy. No, the reality is that some people click on day one.
That's true.
They click on day one. But if you're dating them and getting a conversation out of them, it's like pulling teeth. Then you may need to kind of, because I've ended relationships based on that. So, but it's not a fantasy. Jolene, try it.
Yeah,
you like it.
Try it. One day when I meet that special man, I'll try it.
Oh, you will. Oh, you will.
Louise says, I don't believe you will ever know a person until you're courting. I totally agree because, for me, it's another level or another step of commitment. So I do believe like in dating, though, it is one level versus, just being friends. Okay. So I look at it as levels. And then from dating, then yes, courting, another level, another commitment. So I see it in that way. But as far as making an investment, I'm going to use an example. I know somebody, okay? I know somebody who all of a sudden they met somebody, was working with somebody, and then all of a sudden they just got together, and I was like, oh, how did you become a couple? Oh, it just happened. And I was like, okay. Didn't date, just ended up getting into a relationship. So for me, that goes from knowing a person or meeting a person, entering into courting. Now you're with this person, you're arguing, you're fighting all the time. You can't get along because you didn't take the time to know the person through dating. So for me, get to know the person through dating first. Now you made this commitment and now he feels like he's a little bit more obligated. You can't just check out the door. Now they have a baby, but now you can't just check out the door anymore. Whereas dating, you could.
But the question is, though, which one has the better investment, though?
So, but in his case, it wouldn't be a better investment because now he went from getting to or meeting the person to now courting the person. Now you're arguing all the time. The relationship is toxic. Now you can't check out because you've spent this time or you invested this time with this person. Why didn't you just date the person first? Why didn't you just get to know them first? By going out, going here and there, knowing them out of all seasons. One thing I learned is that you get to know a person through all of the seasons, so like in the summertime, are you still going to smell good in the summertime like you are in the wintertime? You know what I'm saying?
But I think it all just depends on the person's intention too, because if they're not trying to get married or wanting to get married and they just want to date and just want to meet multiple people and have those relationships, then okay. But the courting part is intentional because you're seeking a mate who you can coincide with and who you can marry. So that is the whole purpose of dating. So that's why I think it's the better investment.
And when you start dating, and if you know you're dating without the intention of leading to a courtship, then both of y'all need to have that discussion up front. So there won't be any high expectations, especially when the person is no longer available for you to date.
That's good. That's good, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're getting, but you know, like I said, I still believe had they gotten to know each other through dating, you get to really truly know a person. You really get to know them in and out through dating. Then in the long run, when you make that commitment, I feel like it's a much better relationship in the long run.
I don't think you do.
Jolene,
Yeah.
may I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
You mentioned levels. So how many levels, if there are a set number, but how many levels are there in dating? And how many levels are there in courtship?
Well, I mean, I think it just all depends because you go, for me, so it's like dating and then, okay, take the next step, courting, then take the next step, engagement, and then marriage.
No, that's not what I asked. I asked you, how many levels are there in courting? I mean, in dating.
I don't think that I mean, it's just either you date the person or you don't. I don't think that there's any levels. Either you go out with them or not. I mean, but I think it depends on the way that you look at dating. What is your perception of dating? So everybody's just like, oh, well, it's going out, getting to know somebody, or is it it's a romantic type of get together? So it just depends on the person's perspective on what they think dating is, because dating could mean different for everybody. That's like dating could be like for me, if I was dating somebody, I could only date one person. I couldn't date multiple people. Whereas some people think it's fine. They can date multiple people and it doesn't affect them. It doesn't bother them. So for them, I would think that their level or their commitment would be a little different versus having just, my eyes are just on one person.
Okay. That's pretty good right there.
Yeah.
And he also mentioned levels in courtship.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because I feel like once you're courting the person, you make that commitment. Hey, you know what? I really want to long term. I'm really thinking about you, having a long term relationship, and then you go from there. And then if you see everything that you like and everything aligns up to how you like it, and you're digging him, and he's digging you, whatever, then there's engagement. There's engagement that comes after that, and then of course marriage.
Okay.
That's the way I see it.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna stop right there for just a second. Mike, we really appreciate you for being here today. So we're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back on Words versus Words with Friends. Love, is it emotion? Is it a feeling? Is it an action? Is it none of those? Is it all of those? What is it?
It's an action. That's what it is. It's not an emotion. It's an action. Now, who's on my side between y'all?
No. It's okay. I will agree. There is some action to it, but I do want to say that it is an emotion. It is a feeling. It is a deep expression.
It starts with emotion, but to make it stick, it's gotta be that action. Because guess what? You can tell me all day long that you love me, but guess what? What's gonna happen when I lose my job and I ain't got no ends no more? You know what I'm saying? When they give me for the 77, like Martin said, you know what I'm saying? So what's gonna happen then? That action is gonna show me, do you really love me, or did you just love me because I had some money?
The feeling came after the action took place. So you would never feel that if I didn't display that action. So to me, that's not saying love is an emotion. That's the result. That's how you feel after I've given you the action, after I've displayed love.
Hi guys, welcome back to Words versus Words with Friends podcast. We have a very special guest, Mike Walker, joining us this evening. Guys, we want to thank you so much. If you're tuning in Facebook or Spreaker, we thank you so much for joining us. We thank you for your feedback. We thank you for your comments. We want you to go ahead, like and share. We encourage you. What do you have to say about this topic? You know, in seeking long-term relationships, which has the greater investment, dating or courting? I want to go ahead and go to our poll. So that was a clip that we just saw. Is love an emotion or an action? And we found that 41% of you thought that it was an action. 9% thought of you guys thought it was an emotion. And then 50% of you guys thought that it was both. So we also have a poll every week that we take. And so our poll for this week, for our show tonight, is in seeking a long-term relationship, which has a better investment, dating versus courting. So after the show, we will have the poll up. You can find it on Facebook at WVWWF. So we'll have it ready for you guys to vote. So Mike, what do you think? So last week, is love an emotion or an action?
It's an action. It's an action, or better yet, depends on which Greek translation of love you want to use, though. So, but it's an action.
So I kind of see a pattern going on here, because our guest last week was a guy, and I was wondering if it was a guy's perspective, if a guy sees it differently than a female. So that was something. So very interesting to hear what you had to say.
Yeah, yeah. But to go back to the topic about commitment and dating and courting.
Yes.
In dating, you don't have to start off going to a fancy restaurant. At least you shouldn't if you got some sense. You know, go to a coffee shop. Go. Okay.
Give an example.
Rhonda.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you, Rhonda.
What about SBC folks? But go to a coffee shop. You know, don't spend a lot of money. Now, I'm not being a cheapskate, but this don't start out the gate, you know, getting rid of your ends like that. And then when you feel like, hey, this is going somewhere, then raise it up a little bit. Raise it up, and then when you hit that courtship stage, you put it in sixth gear right there. But you still, I'm so sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But even then, though, and this is the caveat right here, even during the courtship stages, you're still learning about them, or y'all learning about each other. You know, those nuances and minutiae that you didn't see during the dating. No, they might pop up 6 or 7 months into the courtship. So.
But you mentioned something very interesting earlier, because you said, if you're dating a person for 2 months, then that's too long. Then you shouldn't probably be with the person. Is that correct?
If they're not verbally telling you, hey, we're a couple, we're an item, we're official. Well, to me, after a month, if we're not an item and official, but we still going out and doing this, nah, that's not going to work right there. No, I like a return on my investment.
Right. So how are they able to see like all of you? Like if you're not putting out all of your moves, or, you know, if you're starting off slow, like how could you really get to know the person after a month or 2 months?
And that's a good point. Sometimes you may have to take that risk. Sometimes, yeah.
For me, investment, I think of time, you know, and it's like, is the person worth the time that I'm putting in? Is the person worth my attention? And so courtship, I think for me is a little bit more risky. Like you said, it is putting yourself out there on a different level, you know, courting somebody, say even for a year, and then just breaking it off. Like for me, you know, that can break somebody's heart. Like, you know, it really can. I mean, versus like if I was dating somebody for a year, you know, then I don't know if I would be as heartbroken, you know?
But I don't see it like that, because I think it really just depends on the person and the perspective. Because even if you are dating someone and you're dating them for a year, you still could be heartbroken, because some people, they don't know how to date. I'm going to use myself, for example. I don't know how to date. I didn't grow up doing that because we had a very strict household. So that's something at 42, I don't know how to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how to not put all my eggs in one basket and be focused on one person. I don't know how to date multiple people. So even if you're dating someone, you still can be heartbroken. You don't have to just be courting them. I think it just depends on the person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And at 52, I still haven't mastered the art of dating. I mean, it's a learning process. Again, dating person A is different from dating person B. So, and again, everybody don't know how to date. You just have to go along with it, but use wisdom in the dating stages.
That's good.
We have a comment from Bree. Bree, thank you so much for tuning in. She says, every situation is different. I dated 3 months and got engaged, been married 14 years.
Wow.
And that's the thing. It just really depends on the person, because you just don't know. There are some people who get together after a few months and they stay together for a lifetime. So nothing is guaranteed. That's true. Nothing is guaranteed. So
yeah, I could use myself as an example. You know, I was married. I'm divorced, but when I was married, before I got married, I dated, or I guess I courted my ex-husband for 5 years before we got married. And so it didn't work out. So yeah, I guess it just all depends, you know, on the person. But I think had I personally looking into it now, you know, later on, had I spent the time to date him and really got to know him, then I think it would have been different. I really do.
Well,
hey,
yeah, because, you know, we had a couple in our group in SBC. We had our Saturday night after party. They were there. They met each other. They went to the breakout room. I don't know when in the world he told her, though, but they came back smiling and everything. And 6 months later, they jumped the broom.
Nice.
Of course, again, results may vary, though. So we don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
And then sometimes our spouse, our future spouse, may have been in front of us, but we chose to ignore them or pass them by for whatever reason. So.
And yeah, and that's your opportunity to date multiple people at one time to get the full benefit of it. So you don't pass up that person that's in front of you that you should really be with.
And what is that full benefit, Jolene?
What's the what?
Full benefit. What's the full benefit? Yes.
Oh, I mean, life, of course, being married eventually, that's, I think, the full benefit of it. But not rushing into it. You know, I think with courting, I feel like there's a little bit more of a rush there, courting versus having to date, because, you know, you can have some really nice, good guy friends, you know, in your circle, or, you know, and it's okay to spend time with each one of them. And then maybe, you know, that one so that you don't overlook that one, you know, and just give everybody that fair chance. You know, I think you're giving them a fair chance.
We had a comment from Keena. Keena, thank you so much for tuning in. She says, your mindset must be ready to accept love and relationship. You are so right. So whether you're dating or whether you're courting, I still think the better investment is going to be the courting, because your ultimate goal is what? Marriage. So you get past all of the little side stuff. You know what I mean? Because when you're dating, like I said, you can date multiple people, and they will present their best selves, and they're going to hide that for a while. You know what I mean? So they're going to hide that for a while. I feel like when you're courting, you have to get down to the root, all the way to the root. Because not only are you investing, but your family is investing. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of investment, because your family gets involved with them, gets close to them. If you have kids, they become invested. Like, it's a huge investment. And I know Joe said earlier that you can't break it off. You can. No, you can break it off all the way up till you get to the aisle. So it's not. I mean, it is more intentional, but you still have opportunity to break it off if you want.
Hey, Bree has a comment. Hey, she says nothing is guaranteed. Till death do us part. Divorce is not an option for me, but murder is. I mean, definitely, if it's not going right, divorce may be the answer, but, but definitely you got to get to know the person first before, you don't want to make that commitment. And then all of a sudden you find out, there's what's going on with this person. He's a narcissist or she's a narcissist or, some type of red flags, but everybody does not want to get married. Everybody who's courting, I found, does not want to get married. Maybe this could be a commitment on their in their eyes perspective.
And before you start dating, make sure you've resolved those unresolved hurts. And then you'll take whatever the last person did to you, you take it out on the person you're dating. So, and make sure that person has have taken care of their unresolved hurts. So
that's good.
That's good. It is. That's so good. Yeah. And Mike, you have to deal with a lot of, you've come across a lot of different personalities, even, with your show and everything, Single Black Christians, you've seen a lot of different relationships. You've seen how it has developed over time or how it hasn't developed over time or, so, you have a little bit more of an insight, I think, when it comes to the different types of relationships and different personalities.
And we deal with people who either be a man or a woman. A man come in there, he's been hurt by other women and he takes it out on everyone. Then you have a sister come in there, been hurt by a fella. Guess what? All men are dogs. So you have both Misandry and I can't even pronounce the word tonight, but you just have some hang-ups from both sides.
That's so very true. So before we wrap it up, Mike, so let everybody know what's going on with your show. Let them know what's happening in your life in your neck of the woods over there.
In Backwoods, Alabama. Okay. Wait, what Keena says, that's a lot of pressure. I'm sorry. Y'all read it.
She said that is a lot of pressure. Meeting is half the battle. But just have fun and be cognizant of what you really want and make decisions from a position strength instead of desperation.
That's good.
Okay.
It's really good. Thank you.
To answer the question, we have our Saturday night social in the group on Saturdays, of course, Saturday, and we have deep discussions. We may talk about this, what we're talking about. I think I will. So I'm commandeering this topic for tomorrow, if y'all don't mind.
Okay.
Procuring. And then this coming Tuesday, if it's the Lord's will, we have Tuesday talk is going to be the Sisters Roundtable right there. And we're going to have that. We're going to have some professionals there. And it's going to talk about being single as a professional woman and other topics. So, and I think and Shamika right here, right there,
all right.
She's going to be one of the panelists.
All right.
That's going to be fun.
Oh, it's going to be real fun. So, and that'll be our third one. That'll be our third. Yeah.
Okay. And where can they find all this at?
That will be found on, you can either join Single Black Christians Facebook group, Single Black Christians Connection Facebook group, or the Single Black Christian Community page on Facebook. Or you could go to Mike Walker SBC on YouTube. Or, no, that's it.
You are a busy man. Like, how do you do it? My question for you is, how do you do it? How do you manage all of this? That's a lot. You got a lot on your plate.
It's not as bad as you think. It's not as bad as you think.
Do you have room for love?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes. Yeah, plenty of room.
All right.
And I have a question for you. So what made you start the group?
Well, it started on Yahoo when Yahoo had clubs and groups, and I had Single Black Christians on that platform. And then I decided to start the Facebook version back in 2009. And again, to help us as practitioners of the Christian faith, we could discuss with each other how we deal with our season of singleness. You know, now we're not going in there teaching Sunday school lessons and, you know, doing the exegesis of the scripture. Now we do, but we just in there just to have a real talk about this, because I believe certain churches don't address it. Yeah, you see a lot of single ministries, singles ministry, but other than going to the bowling alley, going to dinner together, going to the movies together, outside that, what are you doing to help each other? What are you doing to help the singles in your group? Because you have people who are single, you have people who are widows and widowers. You know, how are you going to help them? Those that have been divorced. Hey, that's how, and I believe some churches, the local assemblies are not doing a good job of that. It's always the same, cookie cutter response. You know, let's do a adult ministry, a singles ministry. No, we like to get real with it, and like we do it in the topics. Now, sometimes the topics can get hot. They get hot. They want to fight. I had to shut it down. What have you? And then that's why we have Tuesday Talk. We talk about issues, and it could be smoking in there sometimes, though. So communication is the key, y'all.
That's good. That's good.
So since doing this, what do you think what is the biggest thing that's keeping us single Christians? What do you think that's blocking us?
I said this, I've been saying this phrase all night. And I say it again, results may vary. What's keeping me single may be different from what keeping Shamika single. And what's keeping Shamika single may be different from what keeping Jolene, single. It varies.
That's true.
And that's how we could open our eyes. Some of us know better and some of us don't. So that's the purpose of the group and the live streams.
Wow, that's good. What would you find is the most challenging, or the most, the topic that keeps coming up the most that you keep finding? Is there a pattern? Is there a pattern when it comes to singleness?
Sex. I mean, that's it. And then you have some of the pious saints come in there and says, "Hey, y'all talking about sex?" Now, we're not going into graphic details, but they say, "Y'all talk about sex in a Christian group." And I tell them, no, 10 times out of 10, that's how you get in this world, through sex. Unless you hatched us. Oh yeah. And Ken said, and money. We talk about finances. We talk about money. Kena, help me out. What else we talk about? And money. Okay. So, and gender roles, that is the most, what is it? The comments get turned off the most on those type of topics. It's men versus women, and it's not about that. We can express these differences, but we shouldn't have to belittle each other in the process. Let's talk about this. Let men and women talk about this and see how we can help each other. And maybe in the process, y'all might get to liking each other. Who knows?
That's true. And there was also a comment that I saw flash up about the stats. somebody was wondering what the stats were of those single Black connections, what the stats are of those who get connected or make a connection together. I would love to know the success stories or stats with love connections. That's really good. I would like to know that too.
Well, we did a video. I did a Tuesday talk interviewing the couple that got married that after 6 months. And I'll post a link somewhere.
Nice.
And then a lot of people connect, get married, meet each other. But some people, yes, we do, Keena. We do. We have one, and they met each other in the group. Met each other in the group. And some people want their privacy.
Yeah.
And that's why people say, well, I haven't heard anybody being connected. Well, they may not want you to know.
Right.
You know, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. So, okay.
That's true. Very interesting. Yeah. It's very good. Very good. Very good at what you do. Let me ask you this. When you do see others making that connection, how does that, because I know for me, when I would see myself or see other people in a relationship, I would get a little discouraged. You know, what do you do? What do you do like during those times to build yourself up?
Just one, don't get too caught up in their relationship. It may not be all that. You know, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. You know, I used to feel that way too, till I saw some so-called power relationships fell apart and crumble. So don't feel bad about it. I just tell you this, take advantage of that me time. You know, because once you get in a relationship, then your time is going to get used up. You know, you have to share your pizza, share your other snacks, you know, miss your TV shows. So, you know, take advantage of that singleness, you know, until that brother comes along. Both of y'all. Okay? Yes.
Oh, yes.
That's good advice.
Enjoy your singleness. Enjoy your singleness.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
So we definitely thank you, Mike, for being on the show. We thank you for what you're doing on Single Black Christians and Single Black, Christian Connection. So we definitely appreciate the hard work and everything that goes into it. We thank our listeners, our viewers, our audience. We thank you so much for joining us this evening. Your comments, we thank you for your feedback, your perspective, your comments is definitely appreciated. Mike, any last thoughts before we wrap it up?
Eat more beans.
Shamika, do you have any last thoughts?
Yeah, so I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. We thank you, Mike, again for coming. We thank you for your listeners and your viewers who have came. We thank Bree from Spreaker. Everybody that tuned in tonight, we appreciate you so much for just tuning in. We are so excited to have you as our guest. You can follow me on Mika Lives on Instagram. You can follow me on Facebook at Shamika Montgomery.
And you can also follow me, Jolene Vasquez. It's the same for Facebook and Instagram. And then also don't forget our Facebook page, WVWWF. And then you can also tune in every Friday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. I also wanted to put out there a little plug, Bree's Bonnets. Bree, we thank you for joining in, but Bree also owns her own business. She has bonnets, so you can check her out as well. We like to, anybody else who is on here that has a business, we do like to promote because we do thank you for tuning in and we definitely appreciate it.
I need a new bonnet.
Yeah. Don't forget to tune in Tuesday Talk, Sisters Roundtable, and that's 9:05 p.m. Eastern Time, and Facebook, Single Black Christians, with Mike Walker.
Yes, so, and this young lady over
Shamika's
here.
going to be on there Tuesday. Do not miss it. Do not miss it. Tune in. Definitely tune in. So this was a very wonderful, very great topic, dating versus courting. There's a lot of misconceptions. People don't really know what that means. What does courting mean? What does dating mean? I think that really before you can make that commitment. I think that you really have to know, what does that mean? What does that mean to you before you can ultimately decide your next steps? You know, because everybody who is in a relationship may not want to get married, may just need that companionship of another person. So really, just the way you view it, the greater investment, I think, is personal. What do you want out of that relationship? You might just want to date and you're just okay with dating. So for you, dating may be that investment for you. Courting, you know, may be a greater investment to you because personally you think that, you know, the long term is marriage and you think that that will be beneficial for you. So yeah, it is personal. Yeah, Mike, we thank you so much for your comments. We enjoyed you being on.
The pleasure was all mine.
Guys, once again, we thank you, and we will see you next week at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time right here on Words vs. Words with Friends podcast. You've been watching Words vs. Words with Friends podcast, brought to you by Next 15 Podcast Productions. If you would like to support the podcast, go to next15podcast.com and click the Buy Me Coffee tab, where we will receive your donations of any size. Thank you in advance and for watching the podcast. We will see you next week.